Hi everyone, this is Sir Luis again, and in this video we're going to talk about how to find the product and quotient of two or more fractions by using the method of factoring. And as you know, the concept of cancellation here is the shortcut method of applying the identity property of multiplication. And there's no such thing as cancellation itself in mathematics, right? Also in here, we have to apply the concept of commutativity so that we may be able to change the order of the terms without necessarily making any difference to the answer. All right? So let's move on in multiplying fractions. It is confusing if you know the process but do not really understand the concept. Let's have examples here, right? Example number 1. So you're going to get the product of 3 over 5 times 4 over 7. Now, the concept of this is very simple. You just have to multiply the numerator to numerator and the denominator to the other denominator. And if ever the product is still simplifiable, we have to do the simplification. Let's say, for example, number 1, as we continue to solve this, this will be equal to 3 times 4 all over 5 times 7. So this will be equal to 3 times 4, which is 12, 5 times 7, which is 35. And as we can see, 12 and 35 don't have any factor in common. So this will be our final answer. 12 over 35. So let's have another example that is a more complicated item, or we're going to deal with large numbers. All right. So let's say we're going to have 9 over 20 times 25 all over 36. Now we can use the process in the first example by directly multiplying the numerator to numerator and the denominator to denominator. But in that case, we're going to have a hard time in simplifying your final answer if ever they have a common factor. Instead of doing that, we can basically make this simple by applying the concept of factoring, right? So we're going to regroup it as term and look for the common factors between the numerator and the denominator. So this will be equal to 9 times 25 all over 20 times 36. So as you notice that 9 and 36 have a common factor, 25 and 20 also have a common factor. So we're going to rewrite it in a way where you can see their common factors. All right. So let's use blue and 9. So this will be 9. And in 36, the factors of 36 are 9 times 4. All right. And let's use red into 25 and 20. The factors of 25 are 5 times 5. And the factors of 20 are 5 times 4. All right. So as you can see here, the numerator and the denominator have factors in common, which are 9 and 9 and 5, 5. All right. So whatever is left on the factors in the numerator and the denominator, we're just going to simplify it. So this will be equal to 5 all over. You have 4 times 4 in the denominator. This will be equal to 16. And we'll know that 5 and 16 are relatively prime since they have no common factors other than 1. This will be our final answer. All right. So rewriting the numbers as the product of its prime factors and simply cancel the factors that are common in the numerator and the denominator. So before you box your final answer, make sure that the numerator and the denominator are relatively prime. So let's move on to the concept of the divisions of fractions. So it is also very simple, but some are confused in the process because it is not introduced in a proper way. Let's have an example or an introduction in the concept of the division. So if we're going to have 2 divided by 1 half, how can we divide this? So let's try to rewrite it in the form of fraction. This will be equal to 2 all over 1 half. And since the division of fraction or the concept of this is not yet introduced, so we can basically rewrite 1 half in the standard form or in the form of decimal. So this will be equal to 2 all over 0.5. And if we use calculator here, 2 over 0.5, or basically you can use the fraction bar, this will be equal to 4. All right, your answer here will be equal to 4. Now, the concept of the division of fraction comes from this example where you can rewrite this as a fraction 2 and 1/2. Now, this is also equal to getting the reciprocal of your denominator or your divisor, which will be equal to 2 times 2 over 1. And to simply apply the multiplications of fractions, just rewrite 2 as 2 over 1. So you have here two numerators and two denominators. This will be equal to, you have 4 over 1, which is equal to 4. And they have the same answer. Now, if you notice that the concept of the division of fraction is also the same in the multiplication, you're just getting the reciprocal of your divisor and proceed in the operation multiplication. It is because multiplication and division have a relationship, and it is because they are inverse operations. All right? So the concept of the division is simply you're going to get the reciprocal of your divisor, and proceed to the process of multiplication. All right. So in this way, the students can understand why we are reciprocating the divisor and changing the operation to multiplication. All right. So let's have example here to apply the concept of the division of fractions. We have here number one. We're going to get the quotient of 12 over 17 and 3 over 34. So by applying the concept of divisions here, this will be equal to getting the reciprocal of your divisor, then change the operation to multiplication. So this will be equal to 12 over 17 times the reciprocal of this, which is equal to 34 over 3, and do the process of multiplication. All right. So rewrite it or regroup this as a one term. So will be equal to 12 times 34 all over 17 times 3 and get the common factors between the numerator and the denominator. Since here 12 and 3 have a common factor which is 3, 34 and 17 have a common factor which is 17. This will be equal to 12, 4 times 3, 17 times 2 all over 17 and times 3. All right. In this way, you can basically get their common factors and try to cancel it out. All right. So you have your 3 over 3 and 17 over 17. So by getting the quotient of 12 over 17 and 3 over 34, your answer here will be equal to it. So don't get the wrong idea. There is no such thing as cancellation. It is just used as a shortcut method in applying the concept of property of equality. All right. So the process of division of fractions are somehow similar to the process of multiplication of fractions. You simply have to get the reciprocal of your divisor and proceed to the operation multiplication. All right. So if you have questions regarding this video, you may write it down in the comment section below, and see you next video.